were going to the CFP?
I was okay. Yes. So probably give you a little more information than you need. I was in my TV room at my house with my wife, and I was in my underwear with a white tank top, standing on top of our little table that we have in there. Put your feet on. And I was standing on top of there, and I was doing this like this, and I don't know. I just felt really good about it, you know. I know people had leaked some stuff on the internet about, Alabama and Vegas and all that stuff, and taking them off the books or whatever. So I kind of had a good feeling. And then when I saw the little Mustang go up there, we all celebrated, and I was screaming really loud, woke my son up, and it was fun. It was a fun day.
What does it mean to you, the fact that this team has another opportunity, chance to play for more, keep competing together?
Yeah, like I am not ready to say goodbye to these seniors. So I want to keep winning because I know I'm gonna cry, and I'm just not ready to say goodbye to Junior and Keyshawn and Jake Bailey and Moochie. I'm just not ready for it. So I want to keep winning because of that. Because I'm gonna cry like a baby. I just have learned to they're like my sons. I love those guys so much. But this is something that I don't know. It's going to take a while down the road to look back, then appreciate it to how it needs to be appreciated. It's so hard to when you're right in the middle of it because you're grinding and you're thinking about the next game and third downs and red zone. But after all of this is over, it will be fun to just take a deep breath and go, wow, what did we just do? That was awesome.
What's it been like for you to just watch how your group has kind of progressed throughout this season, especially these last couple of games here, whether it's how they're gelling with Kevin, just each of them individually feels like they've really come a long way in these past couple of weeks.
Yeah. And, it's when you're rotating guys like we do, it takes a little while to, kind of get in that groove sometimes. And I don't know, it didn't start out, and we had a great talk, and we were very transparent about it in our room. We all talked about it because we went into the year with great expectations at the beginning, and then the first couple games, something was just off. It just didn't seem right to us, and we talked about it and just worked really hard on the details and talked about how we got to get back to taking the game and putting the game. Not necessarily, it may not be all the way true, but we want to feel this way that the game's going to come down to us jumping up in the air and ripping balls out of the sky. And we want that pressure. We want to feel that way going into the game that we have to produce or we're not going to win. And I think that they took that and ran with it.
What did you see from Romelo in his first game back? How he was seeing things and starting to gel, and he hasn't really had much time to work with Kevin.
Practice, I started noticing he was winded, he got winded real early. But one thing about Romelo is he loves to compete. He's a tough kid, doesn't back down from anyone. And I thought for the most part, his first game back from having that big layover, he did fairly well. But I know he's extremely confident, and he'll have a good week of practice next week. He's had a good one this week, so I'm looking for him to be even better.
What do you see out of Penn State and what they're able to do against receivers?
Yeah, I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, so I grew up a Ohio State Big Ten fan. That's all I watched growing up, and typical bigger guys that can run. Always have a great defensive end or a D lineman. They play hard in the secondary. They play, very similar to how Duke played against us. They're going to be outside leverage man coverage, which presents some problems in certain areas, but also creates things in other areas. I think it serves us well that we played Duke earlier in the year because there's a lot of similarities I can tell. It's going to be tough, and it's going to be freaking 0 degrees up there, whatever it's going to be like. but we're all looking forward to that because it's a challenge and it's going to be adversity. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What does wear and tear look like for a receiver at this point in the season? You're 13 games in.
Yeah.
Looking at 14, there's a possibility there's even more after that. What does that
Yeah.
look like for a receiver, and how do you?
Yeah, great question. And I have seen that happen a lot of times in my career. And one thing I've always believed is once you lose their legs, it's very, very, very hard to get them back. I don't even know if you can once you burn their legs out. And I've seen guys get their legs burned out in the 8th game of the season. We do as good a job. I can't think of anybody else who does a better job than we do. There's no way, unless they're practicing 1 hour a day. That's it. But we're a fast tempo team, so we get our work in and we get out of there. We do not burn the legs of our receivers, so I think we're in great shape. And like I said, we do as good a job as anybody in the country in the way that we practice. That is always on our mind, the wear and tear, and our practices are set up so that we can be our strongest in this time of the year.
Can you go a little more into specifics, like what it takes in practice to make sure that the legs don't get burned out?
Well, first of all, I got 6 receivers. I got 6 good players, and we rotate them. So they're not taking the brunt of every single rep in team periods and stuff like that. They're getting half the reps. So we're saving them there. We don't go out. We're not out on the field very long for any practice. We have learned the art of you've opened up a can of worms, and I'm going to go into it. So, practices used to be, like 2.5, 3 hours every day. Some guys are probably still doing that. But then the tempo emerged in college football. Okay, well, if you're going to get more plays in, all right, you can't still be out there 2.5, 3 hours. You're going to burn the kids out. But some guys haven't realized that, and they keep doing the same thing. Well, yeah, you're going to burn them out. You are. And so we've realized that. We're not doing 27, 26 period practices. We're doing 15. Like, we're not out there very long because we get our work that we run really fast. We do tempo in our team setting, all of that stuff, but we don't need to be out there very long because, we're getting more reps in. So I think that's how we save our kids' legs.
I know it wasn't the result you were looking for, but in the second half, the offense really came alive, especially the passing game. How much can you take away from that game and try and carry it over into the next?
Yeah, tempo is it's something that builds, all right? Back when I coached in the triple option, we talked about, you take the defense and you start to form a bruise by cut blocking and all of that stuff we used to do in the triple option. And you won't see the effects of that until the 3rd or 4th quarter. And then you're going to see the effects of it. Then all of a sudden the safety is going to start missing tackles coming in the lane and all that stuff. Well, you take that same thought process in with tempo, all right? We're trying to put mileage on the legs and the lungs of the defense, right? And so, but we have to get first downs. All that works together, we have to get first downs and we have to move the ball. Once we start moving the ball and we start getting first downs and we start doing our tempo, then if we can do that, then you'll start seeing the effects of that on the defense in the 3rd and the 4th quarter. They'll start missing tackles at a high rate. And then hopefully when you do tempo, you hope you get a couple freebies. Like when Chip Kelly started back in the day with Oregon, they would get about 2 free touchdowns a game when somebody just be completely open because somebody blow an assignment on defense because they get lined up fast enough. So you kind of hope you get a couple of those, one of those, every now and then. But did I answer your question? Okay, good.
How do you balance this week and next week transfer portal being open while trying to prep for a game?
I don't know if you can balance it. I think you talk about burning out. We get burned out as coaches. Like, you got to prepare and you got to recruit, and however long that takes, you just stay up and get the job done. And you just your GAs and your quality control guys got to do an amazing job of getting things set up for you because you're going from a recruiting meeting right into a football prep meeting, back to a recruiting meeting. Then you got visitors on campus, and then you got to go to dinner with them at night, and it's long nights and a lot of work, but it's worth it if you can get yourself some good players.
Anything particularly exciting when you talk to guys like that, when they're seeing you at this point in the season still competing?
Oh yeah, that always helps in recruiting. Like, we're one of 12. competing for a national championship. So they should feel fortunate to be on our campus, is the way we look at it.
The receivers have certainly stepped up with some big catches down the stretch, but it seems like they've been blocking well all year long, including, Kevin's touchdown. Jordan Hudson came up with a clutch block there. How important is that to this offense's success?
Yeah, I think the normal fan would be surprised at how much we talk about blocking in our hour meetings. We get up, we walk through it. I challenge them. I challenge their, I don't know, saying manhood's probably a bad word, but I challenge them about being tough. Nobody's paying money to come out there and watch you be soft and stand around and watch the play. And also, if you say you're a teammate and you love your brothers and all that stuff, well, if you love your brother, you hate to see somebody hit him. So you got to take hits off of your teammates, and the way you take hits off your teammates is go and cover your guy up and block guys, and don't let them get free shots on your quarterback, your running back, and it's you sacrifice for each other. And that's what I talk about that from day one. It's all about sacrifice. Football's the greatest team sport ever. You have to sacrifice for each other to be successful. It's the only way you're ever going to be successful. Good?
Thank you.